Hello and welcome to a brand new episode. This is Wednesday's episode of Student of the Gun Radio. I'm your host, Paul Markle. Joining me in the Satellite City Studios, or the Salt Lake City Satellite Studios, is Jared, consuming his monster.
Hello.
And Zachary.
I'm here too.
Yeah, Zachary. Zachary's a shipping ogre. He's the guy who works diligently behind the scenes to touch your packages and make sure they get out to you. One of the packages that he's going to be sending out, or some of the packages that he's actually already sent out, were the pre-orders for the official Student of the Gun gun cleaning mats.
Heck yeah. They're awesome.
Yes, they are. They're awesome. Jared's going to hold it up for the camera. There you go. It has some universal safety rules on it, and it has some advice.
Sheen. Oh, that's a very nice sheen.
It has a nice sheen. I don't even have one. So you
like
guys, you freaks out there in the audience, you have one before I do.
This is the first time I've ever touched one. Well, last episode was. Today is the first day I've ever touched one.
There you go. So that'd be a great thing. Of course, Father's Day's already. Well, by the time you hear this, it's come and gone.
Yeah.
Father's Day's already come and gone. But what the heck? Oh, you know what? I just opened the shop SOTG, and you know how there's a rotating the images of the family.
Yeah, the slideshow.
Well, the image that came up was the image of my wife.
Oh, there you go.
Miss Nancy. And my wife has become, well, I'll tell you after the intro music. What my wife has become. So stick with us.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Yes, indeed. So out here in Wyoming cattle country, if you live in the east, most of the barbed wire fences that I was familiar with when I was living in the east, we had a small farm when I was growing up, were 3 strands, right? Bottom, middle, top.
Yep.
3-strand barbed wire fence. And that was generally enough to keep the horses and the cattle where they needed to be, keep them from wandering off or what have you. Out here, most of them are 5-strand fences. Like the pasture that's right across the street from us is a 5-strand. But the wire is just like heavy duty stapled onto the post. And you know how dumb cows are. They're pretty dumb. If they'll rub against it, and they'll rub and rub and rub, and they'll rub enough that it'll come loose. So in the field that's across the street from us, there's not only they're cows and heifers, but they're babies, they're calves.
Pause. You went hard robot there for a couple seconds. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I saw my face kind of.
Yep. Okay, you're a super robot
freeze
right now.
up.
Fun.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop out the professor, and then we're going to call him back.
Live.
Unless
Live
Dad
on.
talk.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep. All right, we're going to drop you out. We're going to call you right back.
Fun.
This is why you watch live, isn't it?
Yep. This is why we live.
Yeah, I was going to let it go, and
For
then
the
it just
behind the
didn't stop.
scenes stuff. Yeah, it was. I thought that it would go away after like 10 seconds, but it didn't.
Yep. All right. Boop-a-doo. Boop-a-doo. And call back.
Whoa, there's 20 of me.
Yeah, it's like mirrors in a barbershop.
There we are. Are we back?
All right, wait for him to fix himself.
Are we back?
Yep. Oh, there we go. It's better.
Okay, your
and we're
audio's
still
better?
live, so.
Yeah, we're still live.
Okay. All right, so here we are in cattle country, Wyoming. Right across the street from us is a cattle pasture, and it's full of heifers and cows and calves. Well, the calves have found a spot in the fence, along the fence line, where I guess basically the bottom 2 strands of barbed wire are hanging down. So, and it's only probably an 12, 18-inch gap, but it's big enough for these calves. Just they figured it out. And what's funny is when one of them figures it out, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna follow that guy." So last night we're sitting here, we're in our house, and it's somewhere between 7:30, 8 o'clock, and Chigoki, the dog, who's part border collie, is freaking out by the window. He's freaking out. He's freaking out. He's freaking out. Freaking out. I'm like, all right, what's out there? So I get up and I look. And I was like, hey, Nancy, come here. It looks like I saw 3 calves. And it looked like 2 of them were inside of the fence, and it looked like the third one was outside of the fence, like talking to the other 2. And I said, am I crazy, or does that calf look like it's on our side of the fence? She's like, oh, it is. So she says, I'm gonna go pet it. Right? She goes boogieing down across the lawn, across the road, and there's woods right on the corner, so we can't see all the way down the road, the lane that leads to the ranch, the cattle ranch. We can only see like 100 feet. She stops and she waves her hands and she goes, it's not one, there's 6 calves out, and they're all standing in the road. And so she trots on down the road and she shames them, and she tells them how they were being bad and they were naughty, and they needed to get back in that field. And so they did. They hustled over to the hole in the fence, and one by one.
Did they really?
Yeah, no, they really did. She's like, shame on you. You're naughty. You're a bad cow. You're supposed to be over there, right? So they're like, oh, okay, there, lady. And they went, and one by one, they bloop, 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 went through the hole in the fence, and they ran back up to where the other ones were.
She is a cow whisperer, ain't she?
That's funny.
Or an animal whisperer.
So my wife, Miss Nancy, the one that you all love, she is now a cattle wrangler. She's a cowboy.
What? Did Goki get to go out and say hi to the cows?
No, we didn't know.
Oh, he would have had a gay old
What
time.
happened is he would have run them all over the place.
It would have been hilarious.
He would have had a good time.
Exactly.
I'm sure. Yeah, he would have had a good time, but
yeah, it would have been. You could have gotten a video camera out, gotten 100,000 views on YouTube. It would have been great.
All right, congratulations. Speaking of families, congratulations to the Shinny family of Utah on the birth of their brand new baby girl. It's kind of cool because we were some of the first ones to actually know that she was going to have a baby, because she had just found out way back around Christmas time when we were looking at Christmas lights in Utah. So congratulations to the new parents, and congratulations on making it to the hospital.
Yeah. Inside joke.
All right, we got a Brownells bullet points for you guys and girls and cats and kittens. Do it. Boom. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We've gotten a bunch of questions lately about, Paul, what should I have? What should I carry? I get this on Facebook and in our whatever. What should I be carrying? Given the current situation. Given the situation that I live within driving distance to Chicago, or I live within commuting distance to fill in the blank, any major metropolitan area, Dallas, in the United States of America, should I be taking extra precautions? Well, what I would say is, number one, you need to have the fundamental 4 on you all the time, right? And what are the fundamental 4?
Lethal, sharp, bright, and medical.
Yes, you should not leave your home. You should not walk out of your front door unless you have lethal, sharp, bright, and medical on you. Okay, I'm sitting in my own studio in my own home right now, and I have all those things on me, right? So what's your excuse? Exactly. You don't have one. Now, what about additional or extra or bonus or make me feel better type gear? Okay. We've recommended this prior, but I think it's worth talking about again. Some form of less than lethal. And tasers are good less than lethal, but they're a one-on-one affair, right? If there's if you screwed up and you drove from your suburb to the edge of a city, and all of a sudden a bunch of jagoffs walked off the sidewalk, and they're you stopped at a stoplight or whatever, and they're hitting your car with protest signs or whatever. If there's 5 of them and you have a taser, yeah, you can taser one of them.
Ask them all to lock hands and taser both the end people and see what happens.
Well, actually, if they lock hands and you just taser the one in the middle, you get them all because it completes the circuit. Well, kind of, but that's one of the things they used to do in cop training. Rather than like shoot a bunch of them, they would just have 5 guys hold hands, and then they'd have the guy on the end hold the probe, and the guy on the other end hold the probe, and then and you complete the circuit. Yeah, I know people are like, no, Paul, that doesn't work because if you got to be in the circuit. All right, yeah, I get you. But the fact of the matter is, a stun gun, a handheld electronic subject control device, even though they do work very well, they're one-on-one affairs. If there's 4, 5, 6 people, or if there's a crowd and 4 of them are kicking your car and they're like, Mother Fletcher, blah, 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 a taser's not really going to help you. In that case, oleoresin capsicum is going to be the thing for you. Pepper spray is going to be the thing for you. And you probably have figured out by now that if there's 4 or 3 or 2, 3 or 4, that the half-ounce keychain unit that you thought was a good idea when you saw one at the gas station and bought it, this is when you say, it probably won't work.
Well,
And
what if I have 5 of them, though?
Yeah, well, whatever. 2, 3, 4, 5. So the little gas station half-ounce keychain thing, not going to cut it. Nope, not going to cut it. First of all, the half-ounce keychain things pretty much don't cut it on anybody anyway. But something big. And if you have, this is a good thing. If you have a police supply store in your area, cruise on over there and see what they've got. They probably have Guardian. They probably have Fox. They have Fox, Guardian. What's the other big one? Saber Red. The regulars, the old Saber stuff with the black can and the yellow gold writing is garbage. It's mace. It's garbage. But the Saber Red, I've been told, I've never been hit by Saber Red, but Jaeger has used it in his classes, and he said, oh, yeah, they changed the formula, and it's no joke. So, okay. And Fox, we've been using, Jared, how long would you say that I've been recommending Fox OC?
At least 10 years that I know of. No,
20.
Since 1995.
Yeah.
Because that's when you started teaching pepper spray, right?
Yeah. Well, I discovered Fox around 97, 98 time frame. And I actually went to the manufacturer's warehouse or factory or whatever in Michigan, because it's from Michigan. Visited with those guys, saw how they made it, assembled it, put it together. Fox is good stuff. I've sprayed, and with Fox, probably well over 100 people. Well over 100. I've sprayed people with a lot of different stuff. But the Fox is no joke, isn't it? You got to experience the 5.3 million Fox, didn't you?
Yes, I did. It was fun. I recommend everybody try it once.
If you don't have anything else going this week, just get some and say, hey, spray me with this. You can't spray yourself.
No.
You have to let somebody else do it, because you won't do it to yourself, right?
Yeah, and block out like an hour and 2 hours of your day.
2 hours.
2
yeah,
hours,
a couple hours. You're not going to be doing anything for a couple hours. So if you have a law enforcement supply store near you, right? Good stuff. Go there and see what they've got. Guardian is good. Like I said, Guardian is really good. Fox is really good. Saber Red is really good. And you say, I live in an area where none of those things are near me. Okay. Then the next step, if you can't get the cop stuff, is to go to your favorite outdoor store and get bear spray. That's the great thing about bear spray is if you go to any outdoor camping store, you're going to find it. It's just there. That's the, obviously the cop stuff is the best stuff, but sometimes you just can't find it. Sometimes you just can't find it. It's not available. You can't get your hands on it or whatever. Now, if you live in an area where your slave masters hath decreed that you as a peasant are not allowed to own pepper spray, you need to move. Okay, I'm just straight up. If you live in an area, you're like, well, I live in the city, and the city has an ordinance, and we're not. Only law enforcement officers are allowed.
What?
They consider you to be a peasant, and they give not two rats fat butts about your life. So unless you can change that, you just need to get out of there, because they're putting your life in danger. When a city council says, oh, well, only the police are allowed to have these kind of tools, and mere civilians and peasants are not allowed, that means that they don't give one rat's rear end whether you live or die.
So for the everyday gear bag, we've got oleoresin capsicum, we've got a knife, we've got flashlight, we've got a firearm of some sort.
Yes.
We've got a med kit, which you can get at pocketlifesaver.com.
Yes.
It's small enough to fit in your cargo pocket or your back pocket, which is where I carry mine most of the time, but so it'll fit in your bag as well. Have a little bit more. So the Pocket Lifesaver takes care of all the traumatical stuff. And I think traumatical, all the traumatic deals.
Trauma?
That's a new thing, traumatical. It's a Pocket Lifesaver. It's very traumatical. So that takes care of the big ones. Make sure you've got some Band-Aids and stuff in there as well, which we've got gauze. We provide gauze and duct tape in the Pocket Lifesaver, so you can use those as like a Band-Aid. We call it Mand-Aid. You can use it as a Mand-Aid. But if you don't want to crack open the kit just for a small cut, then have some Band-Aids in there as well.
Well, something else that you might want to consider is you say, well, you guys have bigger kits. You know, we have the combat kit and we have the enhanced kit. And you say, that's a little bit too big for me to keep in my pocket every day. Okay, fine. Put it in the bag.
Yep.
Because concealment's not an issue.
I was going to say grab the student kit because it's small enough to... It's
well, but if
pretty
you're talking
tiny.
about a bag, then...
Get the big one.
Yeah, get the big one.
Get the one with the most stuff in it, put it in the bag, and you're good.
Get the one with the most stuff in it, put it in the bag, and then you're going to be ready. So that's my advice to you guys. And I know you're like, Paul, I've been listening for a long time, and I know all that already. Yeah, I know that you do. But brothers and sisters, there's a lot of new people in our audience, and there's a lot of new people right now who are concerned. They're super concerned. I got one for you, and then we'll move on. Somebody said we got a question about really bright flashlights, and they say, I know you're a Surefire fan, but I don't want to spend $200 on a flashlight. Okay. There actually is a brand, and they don't sponsor us in any shape, fashion, or form, but it's called Phoenix, F-E-N-I-X. And what I've noticed is that Phoenix lights are really super bright. They're LED lights, but you can get them at like places like Academy Outdoors and so forth for in the $70 to $80 range for a good light. And you're like, oh, I can get this one for $19 at a flea market. If that's your bag, man, go for it. But if you're talking about a really no kidding life that you're going to be able to bet your life on, the Phoenix ones are pretty good. And I know, like I said, I've seen them on racks at places like Academy Outdoors and what have you.
I think these ones, the stilettos, I think they're
they're great.
They're what?
They're great.
Yeah, I thought they were only like $99 or something like that.
Yeah, the stiletto. I think there are 3 versions of this now, and right now you and I are both carrying the basic one.
Zach's over there like,
stop doing that.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, they're about $99. So they're and the great thing about the stiletto is it is sturdy and as big as a 6P and stuff. No, it's not. But this is the light that you will always have on your body. And it's way more important to have a good light on your body than a super great, fantastic gee whiz one that's at home in a drawer because it's too big and it's not comfortable to carry.
Yep. And I carry this one. It's Surefire doesn't sponsor us either, but I carry this one every single day, and with my daily use, I charge it once every 6 months or so. So it lasts a pretty long time. I'm actually really impressed with the battery life of this thing.
Well, I use literally, I would say at least once or twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, I'm pulling this flashlight out of my pocket. Yep. So it's a good light. It's a good light. So there you go. If you're, my advice to you guys is, number 1, don't ever leave your house without the fundamental 4: lethal, sharp, bright, medical. Right? Mm-hmm. Do not do that. We can't send you guns, but we've got the medical in Pocket Lifesaver. PocketLifesaver.com. And the other stuff, a lot of the other stuff you can get from Ready Man or from our Ready Man affiliates. So, but not the guns.
Yes.
And if you're going to put a bag in your car, a shoulder bag, a sling bag, you want to have a good big bright light in there, a good big kit, and get yourself a large can of No Kidding OC.
And on that, I saw somebody had a question or made a comment. What about hornet spray?
Dear God in heaven. No, 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 no. No.
Why?
Because it's not effective. It doesn't work. Don't tell me yes it does, because I knew a guy that did. No, you don't know what you're talking about. And number 2, if you really want to get serious, take that can of wasp spray, flip it over, and read the label. And it says it is a violation of federal law to use this in any method not purposely designed specifically by the manufacturer. So if you really want to, if you care, the fact is, if you use wasp spray on a human, it's not designed to be used on humans, and you actually just broke the law by doing that. Now, how much you can enforce it, I don't know, but why would you buy an inferior product when you can get a good product? Because it's only $5 or $6.
Why is it a violation of federal law to
because it's a chemical.
I would say not assault, but
it's a chemical poison.
Is OC not a chemical?
It's a chemical poison. OC is not a chemical poison.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Wasp spray is designed to kill wasps.
Right.
It's a chemical poison.
Yeah.
So now, granted, I bet if you took a freaking bear fogger and put it into a hornet's nest, they would not be happy. Would it kill them, do you think?
They'd be extra angry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They wouldn't die. They would just be more angry than they were before.
They would transform into murder hornets.
Or you could be like 15-year-old Paul and get the Aquanet hairspray and a Bic lighter. Take care of stuff that way.
That's the fun stuff.
That's how we got the tent caterpillars out of our trees out front. Yeah, buddy. All right, who dropped in precision rifle class? All right, do it.
I want to talk about the precision rifle class because we've got 2 of them coming up pretty soon. We do have some seats left, so go to SOTGU.com and there's more information, everything there. If you want to sign up, that's cool. If you have any questions, let me know. Send an email to info@studentofthegun.com. But if you're tired of being stuck at home, because I know most of us have been for the last couple months, if you're tired of it and you would like to take a trip out into the wide open space to clear your brain a little bit, come up for the precision rifle, enjoy the landscape in rural Wyoming, and shoot some rifles with us. We've got access to 1,000+ yards. If you bring the right rifle, you can make it out to, I think there's a target at a mile or so.
Oh yeah, there is.
But we'll in the 2-day period of time, you come there knowing nothing about your rifle and your equipment, you'll be hitting at probably 1,000 yards if you listen to the instruction, and your rifle will reach it.
Yeah, if your rifle's capable.
Yep.
If you bring a 223 rifle, you're probably not gonna be hitting 1,000 yard.
You'll hit 600. I know that for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. You'll get out to 800. If you bring a good 5.56 rifle, we'll get you out to 800 yards.
Yep.
If you bring a good 308 or Grendel or not Grendel, Grendel or what's the new hotness?
Creedmoor. We've actually got one of our grad program members, Ben, is building a 6mm Creedmoor rifle. He's going to set it up for the class, and we're going to do a giveaway as well. So SOTGU.com. Sign up for the precision rifle class. There's a bunch of information there. I tried to put all the frequently asked questions on the page for you so that you've got it. The trip is all inclusive. You show up on Friday. You've got lodging, meals, and the class taken care of for the entire weekend, and checkout is on Sunday. So you don't have to worry about anything else except for just pay the price of the class. You've got lodging, you've got food, and you've got the training.
And what about
there you
ammo?
go.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. And there we go. All right. And now it's time to talk about our friends at Century Arms.
Yep.
That's right. Swedish military maker in the U.S. of A.
Yeah, if you bring a PSL up to the rifle class, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, you get a pumpkin spice latte. Bring that. Zach and I, the scope is not, what is it, a 4-power scope? But yeah, it's a 4-power.
Yeah.
That comes with it. But we shot the steel antelope at 478 yards.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
No problem. So you just got to learn. You just have to learn the rifle and learn your optic and learn how to run it. Century Arms has that PSL. They've got the AKs, made in the USA AKs, the TP9 pistols, ammunition accessories, all that jazz. Check them out. Duracoat, because
life's too short to have an ugly gun.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's too short to have an ugly gun. So check those guys out at DuracoatFirearmFinishes.com. They want to help you not to have an ugly gun. We didn't talk about it during Brownell's bullet points, but make sure you sign up for their newsletter so you know what's in stock and when it's in stock and whether it's on sale. Pretty important. SWAT Fuel has a promo code SOTG. If you use that when you check out, you're going to save some money, and you can have a stronger body and a sharper mind. All right, Zach, take it away.
ShopSOTG.com is the perfect place to go if you are a student of the gun. Whether you want to expand your brain, increase your marksmanship, or help keep your family safe. All that, plus the Pimpan brands that you love. ShopSOTG.com has almost anything that an American patriot would want. Education, enlightenment, and entertainment, and we're open 24/7. Check out ShopSOTG.com today and see for yourself.
You know, that's something that I don't think we promote anywhere near enough, is our brands.
Yeah, we have a bunch.
My brand?
Well, the brands.
Band.
You say, well, what are your brands? Your brand's
like
a
the
student of the
contacts.
gun. Yeah, but we have the American Association of Firearms Users, AAFU. We've got AAFU coffee mugs, which are really slick.
They're pretty awesome.
Red, white, and blue. They look great, and they say because we don't need your permission. We've got the AAFU beanies. We've got hooded sweatshirts. So we got T-shirts and long sleeve shirts. We got the Fighting Solves Everything brand.
Yeah.
Fighting Solves Everything brand. All the stuff that I just talked about. The Team Honey Badger. You say, I loved the Team Honey Badger book. I bought it. I read it to my kids. I use it for raising my kids. Well, get a hooded sweatshirt. Get a beanie. Get a onesie. Get a branded phone case.
Yeah.
Zach even came up with a freaking phone case for
Heck
you
yeah.
guys.
And now is probably the best time to mention this, just to everybody, guess off the brands. The people who do our T-shirts and stuff, they are currently behind. So just so you know, if you've because I see there's a couple people who've ordered and they have not received their stuff yet, it's being worked on. Don't worry, you're not just being left out in the wind, but
Cool.
there will be a little bit of a delay. You know,
Yeah,
I just want to let you know.
Such
so
is
that-
life right now.
Such is life right now. But I just want to throw that out there because we have not addressed that yet.
Yeah, now in America is not the time to be in a hurry.
No.
This is true.
Yeah. If you're going to a manufacturer or distributor or whatever, and you're like, I'm in a hurry and I want it right now, and you're like, that's nice for you, and okay, but now is not the time in America to say. It's almost like when we tell people to order stuff that they should order it before the panic. I don't know. All right, let's move on. We're going to move on to our Student of the Gun Homeroom, brought to you by our good friends at crossbreedholsters.com. Boom, 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 boom. All right, guys, cats and kittens, what is the Homeroom all about? Primary theme. What is it?
Oh, you're asking us. Being dangerous on demand.
Well, I was going to ask Ryan Barker, but I didn't think he could talk to me through the microphone. Being dangerous on demand. Paul, I don't believe you. I don't think it's important to be dangerous on demand. I think I should just call 911 and wait for the police to come. Okay. You can do that if that's your plan. You're an American. But I would suggest against it. We got a story here. The American cops in the next year are going to be really busy taking care of their own business, the ones that are left, the ones that haven't resigned and gone somewhere else. They're going to be really busy taking care of their own business. And here's one reason why. This story is from, where's the date line? 3 June 2020. So it's not really that old. Jared, read the title, please. It's from where's it from? dailymail.co.uk.
It says, exclusive. We prepare to stop these murders by any means necessary. Black Lives Matter leader declares war on police and group is training our people to defend our communities in Black Panther style armed patrols.
All right. So the BLM, it says, and I'm going to read the first paragraph after all of the SEO stuff. A Black Lives Matter leader has declared war on the police and plans to release a blueprint for change that involves Black Panther-style armed patrols monitoring the behavior of officers on the street. That's going to go well. Hank Newsom, chairman of the BLM's Greater New York chapter. Jared, refresh the memories of the audience. It was in New York City, right, that the BLM, during the reign of Comrade Barry Soetoro, marched down the street screaming what?
What do we want? Dead cops? When do we want them?
Now.
Now.
Yes. Now, you guys aren't supposed to remember that, but it happened, and we let you know. In an exclusive interview, he says BLM movement has marched for years to wake people up on the realities of police brutality and oppression. And he believes that the tragic death of George Floyd, blah, 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 is our obligation to move. Okay, great. So what are you as so if you've got your city now, and if you have a BLM movement now in your city area, and they are going to go to the streets armed to monitor and police the police. Okay. And they see that the police are arresting somebody that they don't think should be arrested. Why don't they think they should be arrested? Well, because they just showed up after the fact. See, that's one of the things with our modern media and our modern culture is everybody sees what happened after the fight started. They don't see what led to the fight. They don't see what led to. Am I saying that all cops in America are innocent? No, I'm not. And I'm also saying that not every police officer is a part of a systematic racism, this cabal. Ladies and gentlemen, the popo are not going to have much time for you. And what we're going to see in the very near future, what did they see in Baltimore, Jared, after the mayor told the cops to just stand back and give people room to destroy?
Yeah. Destruction.
Yeah, what did they do? They did. They're like, okay. They hung back and just let the mob do whatever the mob wanted to do. And they burned and looted and destroyed and caused millions of dollars in private property damage because they didn't destroy City Hall. It's funny. The mayor in Baltimore said to give them room to destroy, but it wasn't her property that was being destroyed. It was, the stupid peasant people. It's their stores and their houses and their cars. Who cares? They have insurance. Screw them. I bet you if those people were coming to the mayor's house or city hall to do what they were going to do, she probably would have been singing a different tune. You think? They've been singing a different tune. If you, and that's the whole point of the homeroom, if you are not prepared right now to, and I don't care what the Chicago mayor says or the Baltimore mayor, if you're not prepared to defend yourself and your family, you better get with the program, Jack.
Actually, what you just said, did you see that the was someone in Washington, I think it was the governor of Washington or something, has deemed these BLM protesters as domestic terrorists after her house got vandalized?
Oh, that's not the governor of Washington. Governor of Washington is a psycho dude.
Well, it was someone in Washington, maybe like, I don't know. A politician in Washington deemed them domestic terrorists after their house got vandalized.
I thought that was the Antifa people.
Was it?
I think it was Antifa.
Okay, Washington.
Was it Washington State or Washington City or D.C.?
Politician, domestic terrorism.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Washington legislator Matt. Nope, that's 2019. Okay, I can't find it. The point is, I saw it, and you're just gonna take my word on it because I can't find it.
Well, you know, and it's not really a hard bet. The fact is these folks, it's like these Democrats going on TV saying, well, property destruction is not a reason to use force, and it's just property. Oh, it's just somebody else's property. If it was your house and your car and your business that was being burned and destroyed, it probably would be a big deal. But when it's just the property of the peasants, who cares? Who cares about the peasants? And so, folks, we have a tremendous amount of information that's available to you from the very, very beginning. Like, hey, this is my first gun. I mean, I wrote an article called "My First Gun," and it has a step-by-step. Okay, I've just decided that I need to have a gun to protect myself. Okay, boom, my first gun. We have videos, we have training material, we have the Armed Living DVD that spells it all out from A to Z, what being an armed citizen is all about, what your responsibilities are. You need to if you're looking for a new normal, I'm going to tell you what it is. The new normal is you'd better be able to take care of yourself and your family, whether it's feeding them, housing them, heating, clothing, energy, and defense. You better stop relying on a fragile system for all the stuff that you need to protect and keep you safe.
Yes. And real quick, Darren Easley helped me find it. Washington State, Orem, Washington mayor calls BLM protest domestic terrorism after home is vandalized. Washington's Orem mayor was fine with the Black Lives Matter protests following George Floyd's death until the vandals attacked her home. Now she's referring to them as domestic terrorists.
Oh, so now that it's affecting you,
exactly.
It's a problem. That sounds like a typical American liberal. It's not a big deal until it happens to me. Oh, now it's a big deal. Let's talk about this. We're going to reference a story that we just had. This gentleman with Black Lives Matter, he's very upset with the state of police agencies in these cities, New York and Chicago and so on and so forth. Does anyone in the media ever say, excuse me, they're quasi-infume? That's a real person. You're very upset about the state of policing in New York City, and you're going to form a coalition of your brothers and sisters, and you're going to be armed, and you're going to arm yourself to defend yourself against the police. You've declared war on them. Yes, that's right. And you're in New York City. Yes, that's right. Who's in charge in New York City? Are the conservative Christian Trump supporters in charge in New York City? Hey, well, it doesn't matter who's in charge. It doesn't matter because the police are out of control. oh, hang on a second. Can we have an intelligent, intellectual conversation, or are we just going to have one based on emotion? Because if we're going to have one based on facts, here's the fact, Jack. New York City has been run by Democrats since Giuliani left. New York State has been run by Democrats for how long now? The mayor is the guy, and the city council, they're the ones who elect the police chief. And they hire them. They don't elect them. They hire them. And the police chief follows their rules. Jared, in Salt Lake City, is it against the law to panhandle, to beg for money on street corners?
I believe so, yes.
No, it absolutely is. There's a sign on the freaking street. There's a sign at the off-ramp that says Utah State Code prohibits, right? It's the no panhandling law. Printed on a sign at the exit ramp. And there's a person standing under the sign begging for money from people as they come to the stop sign. Why don't the police do anything about that? We all know it's against the law. We can all see them. Why aren't the police stopping that from happening? Who told them not to enforce that law? Come on, help me out here.
Oh, I didn't know you were asking the actual question.
No. Yeah, who told the police
mayor,
not to?
The mayor of Salt Lake City, yeah.
Okay, the chief told the police, the chief tells the patrolman, don't enforce that law.
Yeah, but why does the chief do that? So
the chief does it because that's what the mayor told the chief to do. All right? This is a reality of America. The laws that the police officers either don't enforce or focus on real hard are based upon who the mayor and the city council is. If you have a Democrat mayor with a socialist agenda, then they're going to force, well, first of all, they're going to hire a chief that thinks like they do. Art Acevedo. Why does Houston have a born in California, born and raised communist as their police chief? Because that's what the mayor of Houston wants, because the mayor of Houston is a communist. So they get what they want. Why is Eric Garner dead? Who's Eric Garner? Eric Garner was a man of color, a black man who died in custody of New York City police. And he's like, well, yeah, because Eric Garner, the New York City police were arresting Eric Garner because he was a suspect in a robbery. Is that true? No. He was a suspect in car theft, right? No. Eric Garner was accosted by New York City police because why? What was his crime? What was the horrible crime that the black man, Eric Garner, was committing or suspected of committing when he was accosted by the New York City Police Department?
He was not paying taxes.
Yes, that's right.
On his sales.
Yep. Supposedly, the accusation was that Mr. Garner was selling single cigarettes without paying the tax, without paying the king's tax. And you say, if you're not familiar with this, you're sitting out there and you're like, Paul, you're telling me that New York City cops had nothing better to do than to jack up Eric Garner over the accusation of selling single cigarettes, thereby getting around the New York City cigarette tax?
Well, yeah, but he didn't comply when they came and asked him questions.
Yeah, that's right. He failed.
He should have just listened.
See, what we need to talk about, it's not the failure to comply, it's the why was he even in their crosshairs?
Yeah.
Why did they even stop to talk to him? And what I would ask this gentleman from Black Lives Matter New York is, do you care about what happened to Eric Garner? And I sure, if he was right there, he'd be like, of course I do. What happened to Eric Garner was a crime. It was abuse. It was horrible. It was part of the systemic racism of police departments in America. first of all, you can't say police departments in America, but you could say, all right, New York City. Why were the cops jacking up Eric Garner? Because his sin was trying to get around the tax. So the cops in New York had been instructed by their supervisors, who were instructed by the chief, who was instructed by the mayor to stop these people from getting around the cigarette tax. Eric Garner was killed in the custody of NYPD, and his crime was being accused of avoiding the tax. Jared, who voted for the mayor? Okay, this occurred when was it Bloomberg or
I think it was. I think it was. Oh man, I can't remember if it was Cuomo or Bloomberg.
It was either Bloomberg or DeBozo.
I think it was De Blasio.
Yeah, in 2014, who was the mayor of New York in 2014?
De Blasio.
De Blasio.
Yep.
So in order to enforce His Majesty the King de Blasio's cigarette tax, Eric Garner had to be accosted. He had to be taken in. You couldn't let him just get away with that. Who's electing DeBozo to be the mayor of the city? Is it Trump voting conservatives? It's white Christian Republican conservatives. That's who elected the communist DeBozo.
It's probably
right?
Mostly dead people.
Yeah, probably mostly dead people. And I would say to this gentleman, what's this gentleman's name? I'm going to find it here.
Newsom.
I would ask him if he was there, huh?
His last name is Newsom.
Newsom. I would ask Hawk Newsom. According to the story, his name is Hawk Newsom.
That's a pretty badass
I would
name.
ask him, who did the BLM support for mayor? Which mayoral candidate did they support? Which political party do you vote for? Well, it doesn't matter. Yes, it 100% does matter. Because you get this, it's nature's law. What is nature's law? You reap what you have sown. Minneapolis has been run by liberal socialists, by communists for 40 years. For 40 years, the people of Minneapolis, Minnesota have been electing people from what is it? It's the Democratic Farm Labor Party or something like that. And as their platform is social liberalism and social justice. It's not Republican conservatives in charge of Minneapolis, and it hasn't been for 40 years. Who hires and puts in place these police chiefs who thereby enforce the policies of the mayor? Not Republicans, not conservatives, not Trump voters. Yeah, the Democrat Farm Labor Party has as its ideological platform social liberalism and social democracy. Ergo, they're communists. The white liberals in Minneapolis who now hate the police, want the police department gone, who got on there and they voted to defund the police department. They're the ones who've been in charge. And what's crazy to me is the same people in New York City, in Minneapolis, in Baltimore. I mean, do I need to keep ticking down the list? In Chicago, the same white liberals who claim to be against this heavy-handed police state and the police are out of control and blah, 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 blah. Who elected the mayors and the city councils that created these out-of-control, heavy-handed police departments? Wasn't Donald Trump. Wasn't Mike Pence. It wasn't, conservative Christian Republicans. Who do you white liberals vote for? And this is the insanity of the situation that we're in right now. We have these American white liberal socialists, whatever they want to call themselves, virtue signaling all over socialist media with black squares and all kinds of nonsense. But they don't want to take, and that, what I'm about to say, is the key to being an American liberal. You don't take responsibility for anything. White liberal Americans created these cesspools that we call Chicago, Minneapolis, New York, Los Angeles. I could just keep taking down the line if you want me to. They created the problem. They created the big government problem. Now they're railing on social media and where YouTube and anywhere they can get their faces. They're railing against these police agencies as systemic racism, blah, 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 blah. But they're the ones who created the problem. So you create the problem, you complain about the problem that you created, and I would ask these folk, if you know any of these folk who, I'm sure that people out there have friends who've done this virtue signaling garbage on their Instagram or whatever, ask them, who are you going to vote for in November? A Republican, a conservative, or a Democrat?
Anyone but Trump.
Yeah, that's right. ABT, anyone but Trump. No, Trump.
So if it was Trump against Hitler, you'd vote Hitler?
Yeah.
Anyone but Trump.
At this point, they would probably.
So you create the problem, you complain about the problem you created, and then you go right back to doing the same thing, to engaging in the exact same behavior that caused the problem that you claim to hate to come into play. And that's where we are in America today. And I don't know how we don't get it. I mean, it's a cognitive dissonance thing or whatever.
It's because the people that are now protesting have lived their entire life without having to be responsible for their actions. They've received trophies. They've got for participation. They've received participation trophies. They haven't had to deal with any consequences from their decisions. So it's required no thought. And so why would, I mean, I get it. This dude says this is what he says. We want liberation. We want the power to determine our own destiny. We want freedom from oppression or from an oppressive government. And we want the immediate end of government sanctioned murder by the police. Great. We're all on the same page now. Cool. Welcome.
Yeah, we all want that too.
Welcome.
Yeah. You know what? Republican voters want that same thing. We want the government out of our life. We don't want a heavy-handed, in-your-face, cradle-to-grave government. We want to be left alone by our government. But here's the thing. You cannot vote for DeBozo and Cuomo and this freakazoid mayor in Chicago and at the same time say, we want government out of our lives. Because those people are not about being out of your life. That tyrant Cuomo in New York is 100% about being in your life, cradle to grave. You cannot claim that you want to freedom from an oppressive government and vote for the people who oppress you. It's disingenuous. It's the definition of insanity, quite frankly. And I hope, I don't think I have too many friends that are in the Black Lives Matter movement, but I would hope that they've woken up and said, okay, come November, we're going to have to vote for somebody. And it's kind of like what we have done on the gun culture, where we keep applying the same solutions to the problem and we're shocked when the problem isn't fixed. You know what I mean? Yeah. We do this. We're like, well, if we just vote hard enough and if we just, blah, blah, then they'll leave us alone. If we just give them a little bit, and if we just are willing to compromise, then they'll leave us alone. We've been doing that for 30 years. We compromise a little and expect that they'll be happy and they'll leave us alone. They don't. So on our side, we're doing the same thing over and over again, and it's failing. And on their side, it's the same thing. They're like, we hate blah, blah, blah. Hey, was there an election between 2014 in New York and now? The answer is yes. Mayoral terms are only 4 years. 2014 to 2020 is 6 years. That means that between the time that Eric Garner was killed in the custody of NYPD and BLM got all angry and jacked up about it, DeBozo was up for re-election. What did Hawk Newsom do to try and get DeBozo out of power after the death of Eric Garner? Yeah, you say that's an excellent question, Paul, and I'm guessing the answer is nothing. And I'm guessing you're right, the answer is nothing. When it comes to Minneapolis, when it comes to Los Angeles, when it comes to Chicago, when it comes to the United States of America, the reason that people like George Floyd and Justine Damon, who we're not going to talk about because she's a white woman killed by a black cop, so we're just going to forget about her. The reason Eric Garner died for, supposedly selling cigarettes is because white liberals in America keep doing what white liberals do. They keep electing Democrats who keep creating the situation that puts police not as law enforcement, but as policy enforcers. And until it changes, this is not going to change. And if that hurts your worldview, and if you don't want to accept that and you don't like it because it's prickly truth, then that's just tough nookies on your part. It doesn't change the fact. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back tomorrow with more. We're going to have a grad program bonus hour for you guys. And if you'd like to participate in the bonus hour, and you really should, Jared's going to tell you how.
You go to getsotg.com. And as always, if there's a bunch of information there, your questions should be answered. But if they're not, you still have questions after you look over that page, just send an email to info@studentofthegun.com and you will get taken care of.
There you go. That's it. Remember, you're a beginner once.
You're a student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.